From standoff to settlement, the Freedom Caucus and Trump's big, beautiful legislation. In a dramatic twist, House conservatives from the House Freedom Caucus quickly shifted from defiant figures to seemingly compliant allies as they ultimately gave in, allowing the One Big Beautiful Bill Act to pass through the House on Thursday. Despite earlier tensions and disagreements about government spending, this outcome highlights the considerable influence President Trump now holds within the Republican Party. Notably, while many factions of the GOP faced challenges, the Freedom Caucus stood out for their initial resistance before ultimately caving. A 3-page memo circulated among GOP members criticized the Senate's version of the bill, arguing that it contradicted the commitments made by Speaker Mike Johnson. But here's where it gets controversial. Even though Representative Ralph Norman had proposed specific conditions to secure his approval, none were granted, and the final bill reflected the Senate's version. This move had the potential to delay the legislation past the crucial July 4th deadline, a timeline both chambers had deemed non-negotiable. And this is the part most people miss. Rep. Chip Roy, for example, was adamant that he couldn't support the bill just because the deadline insisted on it. However, he eventually stated on Twitter that he secured promises from the White House to tackle Medicaid fraud, which helped him shift his position. The debates didn't stop at that. Another right-wing representative, Derek Van Orden, quite vocally rejected any notion that they were merely following Trump's directives, emphatically stating that they were not acting under the president's commands. This outburst underscored the ongoing friction between loyalty to Trump and individual political strategy. Interestingly, Senator Lisa Murkowski also provided a fascinating angle on the debate. She voiced concerns about how the proposed work requirements could negatively impact individuals who rely on SNAP and Medicaid, later hoping the House would reconsider and send it back for further refinement. Ultimately, her shift to support the legislation was accompanied by securing funding aimed at keeping rural hospitals afloat, along with some benefits tailored specifically for Alaska. She even earned the nickname Cheap Date from a Democratic congressman due to the compromises made in her favor. In the end, the bill's passage confirmed that Republicans had conceded on key points, and political dynamics shifted decisively in Trump's favor. Speaker Mike Johnson emerged as a significant victor, cementing his position in line with Trump's influence. Meanwhile, Trump gains enhanced funding for his immigration initiatives, positioning himself with more resources than ever before. As the dust settles, what do you think? Was the final agreement a strategic win for Trump, or did it undermine the GOP's conservative goals? Share your thoughts in the comments below.